My name is Ethan Thomas, and today, it's been a while since I made a video, but I was thinking about taking our power back and how we are God. How we're a lot more powerful than we think we are. But before I get into that, there's a few other things I want to get into that have to do more with the self and integrating the self so that you may love it, so that you can really see the divinity in yourself and in humanity and those who exist around us. So first, I got some notes. We are connected through awareness and consciousness of the energy that exists between and the spirit. So I believe we have the higher self, and our higher self chooses to reincarnate for whatever reason as whoever you are to learn things. So all of us have a spirit. You are human, or a spirit, in a physical body living a human experience. So balancing these things out can be quite difficult, and I think that's why it's very important to integrate the self and work a lot of things on your inside so that you can see the divinity, see how God is working for you, and flow with the universe as opposed to against it. So one of the first things I want to talk about is emotions and something called IFS, or internal family systems. And my understanding of it is that every single time a trauma is formed, there is a timestamp for whatever age it happened at. So say you're 4 years old and you got beat really bad. That 4-year-old, if no one sits down with the 4-year-old and explains to them what happened, that they're safe now, that's not going to happen again, and explains to them what happened, like if it was your dad, be like, oh, your father doesn't know how to love himself, or doesn't know how to regulate his emotions, and he hits you out of anger, which is not okay at all. Shouldn't have happened, but you can understand him a little better even with wrong actions. Anyways, back to the parts work in internal family systems. So that little 4-year-old that lives within you will exist in that traumatized state until somebody, yourself, goes back and re-educates them. So it's like, I'll use a different example. I'm gonna use one with alcohol. If you had alcoholic parents who would start fighting every time they drank, and you've been able to drink most of your life, but one night you're out drinking with your boys and you feel really unsafe. What that is that something triggered that little 4-year-old part of yourself that needs to be re-educated and updated, that, we're big now, we can protect ourselves, we're not in that unsafe environment. So, parts work. You are a bunch of fragments that need to all come home. So when we don't know ourselves and we don't know our feelings and our emotions, or we don't know how to sit with them, we're fragmented. It's not even the full you, because that little part of you when you were younger was suppressed by that trauma, isn't able to come up. So things that you may have liked in the past, you may not like anymore. Things that made you really passionate and made you very, very happy, it may not feel the same because you can't connect to those parts who loved it. All right, so another thing I want to talk about is something called German New Medicine. And German New Medicine, I am actually not very well versed in this, but I just know the basics. German New Medicine connects physical symptoms to spirituality and emotion. So for example, if you feel like something is being taken away from you, your territory is being infringed on, it could be a person, it could be a physical item, it could be a part of yourself, you might get a sickness in your lungs, or like a cold that more exists in the lungs, and that's called a territorial conflict. So these emotional conflicts, when we aren't able to let the energy pass through us and sit with the emotions, our body will compromise and let the emotion run its course in a different way. Sickness, chronic illness, cancer, stuff like that. So I believe that the reason things like this aren't really taught is because it makes the individual independent. It makes the individual sovereign, and you don't need to rely on doctors. You don't need to rely on anything like that. So, the medical field is a business. So they're going to want you to believe and think you need to live off a prescription for the rest of your life, when a lot of the times chronic illness comes from things in the childhood, or it can come from things from past lives, from ancestors, from your grandma. But what it originated as was a feeling that was not able to express itself and let go, and it stays in your body. Your body is trying to reconcile the emotion, whatever you felt, without you identifying the emotion, feeling it all the way, and letting it go. So all of that energy bunches up in your body, and it could be literally anything. So, if you want to learn more, I would definitely look into German New Medicine. It is a wonderful tool for taking control of your life and just becoming independent and taking control of your health. All right. So another thing is that with these things, German New Medicine, IFS, the parts work, working with these younger parts of yourself, one, you'll be aware of, oh, I had this happen, so that's why I'm sick today, because I had this kind of conflict. My arms are hurting, my tendons are hurting, and I know that's because of this. I had some other conflict. But the last thing is self-love and manifestation, which ties back to, we are God, we are spirit, and everything. But you can't see how powerful you are if the only things you are thinking are negative thoughts about yourself or negative thoughts about your life. My life sucks. I never get my way. You are so powerful that when you think these things, it will become your very reality. So, a big part of self-love is allowing these self-loathing parts to come up and re-educating them. Who told you to think that way? Oh, it was my dad when I was 6, or it was my friend when I was 13, or I was bullied when I was a kid. These things are in the past. A lot of us are stuck in the past when there isn't anyone around us telling us that we suck or that we're losers. It's just us. And why would you listen to them in the first place? The only time we get our feelings hurt is if someone is saying something that strikes true. I do think I'm a loser. I do think I'm overweight, underweight, stuff like that. So the biggest, piece of advice I could ever give is to learn to love every single part of yourself, even the parts you deem unattractive or parts you don't want to expose to other people. So I know this may seem kind of like all over the place, but to me it's not. All these things connect back to sovereignty and taking your power back, because you are God. You are the universe experiencing it itself. And we are very, very powerful. I believe that Jesus Christ came down to remind us of the divine spark that lives within, of the Christ consciousness we all have access to. He said we would go on to do things greater than him. So yeah, take your power back by getting a handle on your feelings, on all of your trauma. Everything that has happened to you does not have to define you for the rest of your life. If you have been sexually abused, you do not need to carry shame. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you were beat, you don't need to carry weakness and fear, because you are not weak. It could be anything, and it's different for everybody. But another thing I feel is mental illness is diagnosed to those who just don't know how to regulate themselves. So it's like there's only a certain range of emotions that is socially acceptable, when the human range of emotions is much wider than that, much larger than that. So when they see someone who isn't within the acceptable range of emotion, they call them sick. So if you're having a really hard time coping with living, because living is not an easy thing to do, growing up, letting go, learning to let go, and just learning that life is hard, or it can be hard, but it doesn't need to be. It's a lot. So imagine you grow up, you've never been given proper affection and stuff like that, and then you get to a certain age and you're not having a good time regulating yourself or having a hold on your emotions, because no one has taught you how to do that. No one's taught you how to identify emotions. No one has taught you how to let go and love yourself. Then they just call you sick. They say you are bipolar, you have schizophrenia, you have this and that, when a lot of these people just have spiritual gifts. They are just more aware of God everywhere. But we gotta call them sick. So you're told you have a chronic illness, and like I said before, we are God. Our thoughts are power. Our thoughts are our energy. You tell yourself you're chronically sick in your head over and over again. You're going to be chronically sick. Our thoughts are so powerful, and that's a point I can't drive enough. I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Whoever sees this, I want to remind you that you have the full ability to change your life and to do whatever you want. Because you are God. We're all children of God. We are all one. Universe experience in itself. Thank you, and God bless.